There are over 550 cables lying on the bottom of the ocean right now. Most of them are about as thick as a garden hose, and together they carry more than 95% of all the data that moves between continents. Every email you send, every international bank transfer, every video call to someone on the other side of the world. Not satellites, these cables. And over the past 2 years, ships have been accidentally dragging their anchors across these cables. Near Taiwan, in the Baltic Sea, off the coast of West Africa. Again, and again, and again. Nobody can prove it's deliberate. And that's exactly the point. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the map that actually explains modern power, not armies, not borders, but the physical wires the entire global economy runs through. And you're going to see exactly where the next crisis is going to come from. Quick myth to bust before we go further. Most people assume the internet moves through satellites. It doesn't. Satellites carry a tiny fraction of global data traffic. They're slower, they have far less capacity, and for the scale of data the modern world produces, they're just not built for the job. Instead, almost everything moves through fiber optic cables laid across the ocean floor. And conceptually, this system hasn't changed much since the first transatlantic telegraph cable was laid in 1858. We just got a lot better at building the cable. Now look at this map. This is every major undersea cable route on Earth right now. At first glance, it looks like the internet is everywhere, evenly spread out, redundant, safe. It's not. Zoom in and you'll notice something. A huge share of this entire network funnels through a small number of narrow corridors. The Luzon Strait near Taiwan, the Red Sea near Yemen, the English Channel, the Singapore Strait. Cut the wrong 3 or 4 cables in the wrong place, and you don't just slow down the internet for one country. You can black out the data for an entire region. That's not a hypothetical. That's geography. For most of the internet's history, these cables were built and jointly owned by telecom consortiums. Basically, national phone companies from different countries pooling money to lay a shared cable and split the bandwidth. That's changing fast. Today, the companies moving the most data on Earth, the big American tech platforms, are increasingly building and owning cable capacity themselves, not leasing it, owning it outright. Think about what that means. A handful of corporations, headquartered in a handful of countries, now control a growing share of the physical infrastructure that the entire connected world depends on to function, and it goes further than ownership. Some new cable projects are now being deliberately routed around certain countries, engineered to avoid landing in or passing through territory controlled by geopolitical rivals. The internet's physical map is quietly being redrawn along political lines. So let's talk about what's actually been happening. In the last 2 years alone, there have been multiple undersea cable disruptions near 2 of the most geopolitically sensitive waters on Earth, the waters around Taiwan and the Baltic Sea. In each case, the pattern looks similar. A cable goes dark. Investigators trace it to a ship, often one flagged to or linked to a country with a clear strategic interest in the region. The ship's anchor is found to have dragged for miles along the seafloor, right along the path of the cable. Is that possible by accident? Yes. Fishing trawlers and ship anchors damage cables all the time. It's actually one of the most common causes of cable faults worldwide, which is exactly what makes this the perfect weapon. If you wanted to disrupt a rival's infrastructure without ever firing a shot, without triggering a war, without even admitting you did anything, this is how you do it. Deniability is built into the geography. Nobody can prove intent. And that uncertainty is the whole strategy. This is what analysts call gray zone conflict. Action that causes real damage, sits just below the threshold of war, and leaves no fingerprints. So, what are countries actually doing about this? 2 things. First, building redundancy. Nations are increasingly funding new cable routes specifically designed to avoid the choke points near rivals, even if the new route is longer and more expensive. The goal isn't efficiency anymore, it's survivability. Second, and this is the part almost nobody talks about, cable repair itself is a choke point. There are only a small number of specialized ships in the entire world capable of repairing a damaged undersea cable. When multiple cables go down at once, repair queues can stretch for weeks, sometimes months. The infrastructure that fixes the infrastructure is itself fragile. Here's the idea I want you to leave this video with. The maps that actually explain global power today aren't the ones showing borders. They're the ones showing pipes, wires, and shipping lanes. Whoever controls the infrastructure controls the leverage, whether or not they ever fire a shot. And this is just the first piece. Next video, we go from the cables under the ocean to a single factory in Taiwan that, if it stopped running for even a week, would start breaking down your phone, your car, and your country's military hardware, all at once. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
All at once.